Guys. Alright, so today starts our new series. And this one is... The series is out of Pinterest. It's out of my Homesteading folder. And I'm actually starting on section 3, which is... It's only $300 at the gift shop. Homestead Animal Starts. And this one is called 7 Farm Animals to Raise for Beginners. So, I hope everyone had a good night and slept well, and I think I'm actually starting to get a little bit more on top of getting the video out there a little bit sooner. I did get up a little earlier this morning, which did help, so. And we've had our breakfast and all that. I made some eggs and potatoes. And we've already had our breakfast. I have my coffee, my iced coffee that I made in here. And I have water. Yes, I'm still working on getting rid of the pop. But it's a work in progress, and I think I'm making a little bit of progress because I don't feel like I crave it as much as I used to, so I'm getting there. So, alright, so 7 farm animals to raise for beginners. If you are new to the idea of homesteading, you might be wondering what farm animals you should consider raising on your land. I went through that. Still kind of going through that because I don't know if I'm still debating on goats. I don't know. I might actually get a couple of goats just because of the fact that they'll help us to get rid of some of the brush and stuff that's on the land. Some choose the basic farm animals to raise while others take a more exotic approach. Researching the needs of each animal is always the best place to start. Do your research. Research. You have the internet, there's homesteading books. You can, if you're into like the ebooks, and then you have like Audible or whatever the Amazon one is. I don't use them, so I don't know. I would rather have my hard copy of my books, which is also best because when it gets to a point in time where we can't use the internet and our electronics, you're not going to be able to pull your books up, so. But do your research and just read up on, watch the homesteading YouTube videos. There's tons and tons of them out there. Like, there's millions of them out there. Raising livestock has always been a learning curve, but the more knowledgeable you are, the better that curve will be to you and your farm animals. And that is so true. It helps to have that knowledge. Okay, number 1. The number 1 animal they list in here. Pekin ducks. Pekin ducks. Pekin ducks are the easiest farm animals to raise. They are a great source for meat and large eggs. They also require very little space. They have a bigger appetite than chickens, but are great foragers as well. You can get by with building them a small house and giving them a kiddie pool to swim in, and they will be extremely happy. Pekins are great helpers around the garden. They do not scratch the ground like chickens, so they are kind to your plants. They will eat your weak-rooted plants and keep the bugs off your healthy ones. They are friendly farm animals and are a great addition to a larger farm or your backyard. The only caution with ducks is they are larger, slower birds, so they are weak to predators. Hawks and dogs are their biggest threat, but with proper fencing, they should be well protected. So just remember with ducks that you have to incorporate a little more protection for them from hawks and like wild dogs, or I mean in our case that's where that fence is going to come in around the main living area of the property, which is going to include all the farm animals. Sorry. Just not awake. I didn't want to get up. My alarm went off. I actually waited for my second alarm to go off before I got up. But I'm getting there. It's better than waiting for an hour after my third one has gone off to get up. So I'm getting there. Anyway, but yeah, that's where that's where the fence is going to come in, and the privacy fence around the main living area of our property is going to come in at. Is, protection for the animals, for all of our animals, including the pets that we have, because we don't want them to fall prey to bears or mountain lions or whatever. So, okay, number 2, rabbits. Rabbits are great additions to my homestead. They're a great meat source, cost very little to feed, and take up very little space. Now with us, rabbits, we're going to use them as a money source, not a meat source. So I might just go ahead and go with getting some pigs. Sorry. Yeah. I had to wrap my hand and my wrist. I was having a lot of problems with it last night, so I wrapped it. I had it unwrapped for a while this morning, and then it was starting to bother me some again, so working on that anti-inflammatory diet. I did figure out some natural medicinal plants that I can use. I just need to get them. So I'll be working on that one soon. Anyway, okay. Rabbits' gestation period is about 1 month. They often have 6 or more in a litter, and their babies can be culled at 8 weeks. So it is a fast meat supply. Again, for us, we're just going to be using it as an income supply, so. And again, I'm going to let my daughter take care of that and handle that and take care of the rabbits and sell the babies and that kind of thing, so. And that's going to be another source for her money, along with the cement projects and things that she does. Even if I help paint them, I'm going to let her keep the money from it, so. They can be fed store-bought feed, fodder, extra veggies from the garden, weeds and grass clippings, and hay. Rabbits are also great for your garden because they produce some of the most amazing fertilizer. They do say that it's best to have a compost pile under your rabbit hutch because it adds that extra fertilizer to that compost, and that compost is excellent, makes excellent garden soil. And as far as the feed goes, you can feed your rabbits strictly out of your garden. They do not need grains, any type of grains from the store. They don't. They don't need those pellets either. Oh my goodness, I'm sorry, you guys. Besides, vegetables from your garden is a lot healthier anyway. Rabbits do usually require hutches. They can be built for very little cost or purchased. You can build a rabbit hutch out of pallet wood. Not that hard. Pallet wood and some kind of screen. Even like the small hexagonal chicken wire or the square mesh wire, and just like staple it to the outside of the wood. So we'll probably be building our rabbit hutches because that's probably going to end up being quite a booming business. Some choose to let their rabbits range free in a bunny tractor for protection. You may also choose to raise your rabbits in a colony setting. Their housing obviously has many options that can cost as little or as much as you choose. Now with that, I'm very seriously thinking... Oh god, I'm so sorry. I'm very seriously thinking of sectioning off an area of the barnyard and actually making it for the rabbits. Now that part of the barnyard I might actually completely cover over with, like the chicken wire or whatever. And completely cover it over to protect the rabbits from, like, hawks and... I am so sorry, you guys. I'm not used to getting up earlier, so bear with me. I am so not awake right now. But that'll give the rabbits an area where they can free range and, munch on the grass and whatever else out there, and we can just kind of put some extra little things out there from the garden and let them eat that. And so, number 3, chickens. One of my favorites. Chickens are commonly raised as farm animals because they are multi-purpose animals. They are a great source of eggs, meat, and fertilizer. And yes, they are. Very much so. Chickens require about 4 square foot of space per hen in the coop. Chickens require a covered area to stay dry, fresh water, and a place to nest and lay their eggs. Chickens will eat almost anything. You can feed them compost, weeds, leftovers from the garden, or store-bought feed. Store-bought feed. Please be careful. Do your research. Stay away from big top brands like Purina. I don't even know what some of the other ones are, but just stay away from the big top brands because those brands, they're GMO modified, they have a lot of chemicals in them, and they're not healthy for your animals. Look into very organic, very non-GMO, heirloom, home-raised, homegrown feed. The Kalmbach feed that I had in Michigan, there's one down here in the Tractor Supply down here that is very similar to that. And the one that I had in Michigan, it was spelled Kalmbach. Kalmbach. And it was such a good feed. It was organic. It didn't have any extra chemicals or anything in it. It was a really good feed. And the chickens that we had laid eggs all winter. All winter long. They never even slowed down. We had eggs constantly. And that says something for that feed because most chickens will slow down, at least in the wintertime. So, but ours didn't. At least when they were getting that feed. When I got stupid and let somebody else start buying it and they started buying the wrong stuff, they didn't start laying. They didn't lay as much. So, and they weren't as healthy, and you could tell. Breed will depend upon how many eggs you will get a day and will also determine their temperament. Chickens are susceptible to predators such as hawks as well, but having good fencing around their coop and a good rooster will help in protecting your hens. Chickens are also susceptible to illness, but if you feed them the right stuff, they'll stay healthy. Watch Doug and Stacy's videos on their chickens and what they feed them. And even with the flies in the coop, Stacy uses the fly strips Something as simple as that. She uses the fly strips in their chicken coop. And they work. So that's what we're going to use. I'm going to stock up on the fly strips and just use those in our chicken coops. Or probably in all of our coops. Anyway, so chickens need a lot of herbs. Like oregano, they love mint. There's quite a few other ones that they really like. Parsley. Cleanliness in their coop must be a priority in order to keep healthy chickens. Where chickens roost in such tight quarters and have weak respiratory systems, if one falls ill, usually they all will. You must also be aware of using proper bedding in order to deter lice and mites. And that's true, and there's also there's herbs and things that you can feed them that will help with that as well. So, right, number 4, goats. And this is one of the ones I'm still debating on. I might, as I said, I might get a couple. We'll see. Plus, if you get the right ones, they'll produce milk for you. So, I might. Considering it, I don't know. Goats are magnificent farm animals to keep on your homestead. They are great at cleaning brush. A meat source, I don't know if I would do that. And also great for dairy. If you are looking for a dairy source but don't have a lot of acreage, a goat is the way to go. Nigerian dwarf goats can produce anywhere from half to a gallon of milk a day. Goat's milk is actually easier to digest than cow's milk. And a Nigerian dwarf goat normally only weighs about 75 pounds, so they are much more feasible in a smaller space. Goats will feed on shrubbery and wood. They love hay, vegetables, and store feed. Some choose to leave their goats out to pasture. If your goats are in a smaller space, it is good to give them a covered place to stay dry and warm when it rains, which obviously we would. If we have goats, we'll make sure they have a section in the barn, so they will appreciate it. Goats are susceptible to illness. When a goat has a stomach issue, it can be a matter of life or death in only a few hours. Now, I'm going to have to do a lot more research, but I do believe that as long as you feed them the right foods, they'll stay healthy. I don't remember if Doug and Stacy don't have goats. I'm going to have to look up some homesteads that do have goats. I think Dirt Patch Heaven is one that has goats. It is important to worm them a few times a year. You can choose to use a store-bought medication or feed them pumpkin or pine trees. You have to remember the pumpkin. If you notice they have a stomach problem, start treating them immediately. Goats are also escape artists. See, this is the other reason why. So if we have goats, I'm going to have to make sure that they can't get out. The only true way to keep them fenced in is to keep them happy and get proper goat fencing for this. They are social farm animals, so it is important to have more than one. I would get 2. More than likely a male and a female. If you keep them well fed and give them a buddy, they should stay happy and want to stay right where they are. So yeah, the goats I'm still debating on, but I think honestly I might, because they'll help clean up that part of the property, 5. Pigs. Pigs have a bad reputation for smell and messiness. In reality, pigs are clean farm animals. If you have the land available to allow them to free range, then your feeding expense will be a lot lower. The smell factor will also not be an issue because the more you move them, the less they smell. I have to remember that. I'm going to have to make sure that we get pigs. We have enough room to, move them around, so. When pigs have babies, their litters can often consist of as many as 11 piglets. They're obviously a great meat source, but you must raise the babies for a year to get an adequate amount of meat from them. They eat compost, corn, other grains, milk, bread, fodder, and practically anything else you feed them. However, being such large animals, they do require a lot of food, which can get expensive if they're not free-ranged. They require a pen with strong fencing. They are very strong farm animals and can escape if they put their mind to it. So we would definitely have to make sure we used really strong fencing for them. I would just use that same fencing around the whole barnyard. So, number 6, cows. Cows are a large animal and therefore require a large amount of space. One cow needs around an acre to graze. You must have at least 2 acres for it, so you can rotate pastures. They're a great source for milk and meat. However, because of the amount of space they take up, it's fair to say that a cow is not right for everyone. There is also a lot of danger to owning a cow. They're a large animal and can seriously injure you if you aren't used to handling them. They need a large water source, a barn for winter, with a large supply of hay to keep them fed, a shade for hot summer days while they're out to pasture. Now, we've got to take all of these factors into consideration. So, I'm still working out details on that one. We do want a dairy cow, but I'm gotta work out the details. So, 7, honeybees. Honey. While most people somehow do not consider raising honeybees on their homestead, they're actually magnificent creatures and require very little maintenance. You need beehive boxes to get started and a small water source where they can rest and drink. Their water source can be a bird bath with little rocks in it to keep them from drowning or something as large as a pond. The best thing about bees is you can get them for free. They swarm a lot in the spring and are very gentle when they do. You'll need a bee suit, gloves, and some sugar water to catch them, but once you do, you have a free hive. Hive boxes do have feeders on top that you fill with a mixture of 5 pounds of sugar watered down. However, bees travel up to a 5 to 10 mile radius to collect food. So they usually do not depend on the feeder. Bees are not vicious animals to keep. If you place their hives off the beaten path, you won't even realize you are keeping them. The obvious perk of keeping bees is the honey. You always have to leave them a little in the event that they need it as a food source, but the majority of it is all yours, and it is delicious and very healthy and medicinal and antibacterial and antiviral and a whole bunch of other things. Bees do have upfront costs like hive boxes, bee suits, etc., but the initial investment is worth the experience of raising bees and having honey on tap in your backyard. So, that completes the first one for day 1. Well, the first section for our first informational video out of my Pinterest homesteading folder. So, if I have time, there might be some days I'll do a couple of them. So, it's just going to depend on time. I'm going to try to paint today. I don't know if I can or not. Every time I think I'm going to get time, I just don't. Whether working on my channel or doing something else or really tired or I don't like to paint when I'm really tired because I'm afraid I'll screw up. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and get this video out there. Again, do your research. Do your research, do your research, do your research. And the list of the animals is number 1, Pekin ducks, Pekin ducks. 2, rabbits. 3 chickens. See, for me, that would have been number 1. 4 goats. 5 pigs. 6 cows. And 7 honeybees. So, and we also want a couple of horses. Again, we're going to try to get a hold of an Amish community to see if we can figure out how to get a horse and buggy. Maybe even get a couple of horses from them. I don't know. So, and then the quail. We're definitely going to do the quail because they're a great meat source. And you can use the eggs for a lot of things. And you can even sell the baby chicks. So, that's going to cover quite a few different things for us. So anyway, I'm going to get off from here, get this video uploaded, and you guys all have a good day. I might do another one. I have no idea. I work from 7 to 11 tonight. Yay me. Anyway, I hate working that late. Anyway. But I will see you guys on the next video. Bye, guys.